what's up? It's Angela, and thank you so much for joining the Exodus Group channel. If this information touches your heart in any way, please like, subscribe, and share this video and other videos that we have on this channel. Today we have a special guest. We have Peterson Alcide. He is a life coach, a therapist, a meditation coach as well, and I had him on this channel because as a life coach, for me personally, when I was coming out of Jehovah's Witnesses, I had a lot of things that I wish I would have known and coming out of Jehovah's Witnesses, and I want to address some of those issues today. Peterson, thank you for coming on to the channel today.
It's no problem. It's my pleasure.
So Peterson, tell us a little bit about yourself and your company and what you actually do.
Okay, well, my name is Dr. Peterson Alcide. My company is OSS Consulting. So basically, it's a consulting company with different type of services that we provide to help people. Some under life coaching, some counseling, and there are other sort of paramedical things that we also provide. So the idea is to tackle different branches of different ways that people need our services and provide them the best way that we can. I've been a therapist and life coach for a lot longer than I have been a life coach.
Okay.
Life coach for about 3 years now, and it has been very helpful to a lot of people who feel like, okay, they don't necessarily need a therapist, they don't necessarily need a counselor, but a life coach, someone that will help them guide with their life goals and help them move forward with certain things in their lives. So I've been doing that for the past 3 years since my company started, and it's been very rewarding. And I definitely, I'm honored to be able to join you guys one way or another.
Thank you, Peterson, for joining us. So, how did you get into life coaching? Because you said you've only been doing the life coaching part for 3 years. How did that transition happen?
Well, I had a lot of patients who were, it's not that they didn't need the counseling. Well, a couple of ways, I guess. So some therapists some patients, they didn't necessarily need the therapy part of it. It was more like a guide through, they would need in order to help them with their life goals, different things that they need to do in their personal life, things like that, in order to help them make some of the best decisions for their future. And I also have this other group of people who needed help, but not necessarily therapy, and they didn't want to categorize it under therapy either. Right. And after a clear assessment, they mainly needed life coaching. So I felt like instead of neglecting that group of people, and instead of trying to influence them to say, okay, come get some therapy, which it's not an issue, but some people may not necessarily be comfortable with that, and it's okay. So I was able to branch out and get the course and and certify in it properly in order to see, okay, what does it bring to the table that I can help other people with. And once I started it, it was really, there's a clear difference on what they do. When I branched out, it didn't feel like I was out of my league. It was more like, okay, I'm just opening another door through what I do. And
got it.
Last years, and it's been pretty successful so far.
So, kind of, what's the difference between life coaching and therapy?
Well, life coaching focuses somewhat on your goals. Could be short-term and long-term goals that are personal to you in terms of and I guess it's not the end goals could be the same. It's more of the approach and how it is done. Some of the things that we do are not necessarily as intimate that in a psychiatric setting. Life coaching also can be focused on just a job.
Okay.
Just your job and try to get that done. It could be a transition from one job or one career to another. It could also be helping you to move forward with your life goals that have to do with just They have to do with just a specific thing, as opposed to therapy sort of covers an overall thing and try to pick the root of an issue and deal with it. Because therapy, as you know, and as most people are afraid of, oh, are you going to ask me about my childhood? Life coaching are not all in that, but it's more of a intimate, closer thing that it starts from the bottom up. That's what therapy is more like. So
okay, so therapy more dives deep, and life coaching kind of like is like, let's set this goal, let's set this goal, let's set that goal.
Exactly.
All right.
So once you get into it, there's both would have set up a plan to work to focus on specific goals, and then from there you just move forward. The way you move forward with it makes a big difference as how the end results become. So.
Cool. So I asked you onto the show today because, at least for me personally, coming out of the Jehovah's Witness organization was a complete culture, mental shock, body shock. It was a complete shock. And I do believe a lot of people actually do stay in the organization because of the shock that they do not want to have. They're used to living in this way. They're used to doing things in this manner. And one of the goals of the Exodus group is to go ahead and make that shift. To go ahead and to encourage people to make that shift when they're ready. And for those who are not ready and those who find themselves disfellowshipped or shunned, to be able to transfer into this life, into this new life, quote unquote, with the tools they need in order to live a successful life, per se. So we have a couple of questions, and for those who are watching today, please ask your questions below. Peterson's going to be on our show again, so maybe we can have your questions on the next time that he's on. For me personally, Peterson, I know for me, I had a lot of trouble with setting boundaries. Setting boundaries was one of the things that, oh my goodness, I didn't know how to do. I know in the Watchtower organization where if we shake hands and go, hey, how you doing? And you're a Jehovah's Witness, I'm a Jehovah's Witness, you can automatically stay in my house. You can automatically come in. I will feed you. I will give you my heart and soul because you're my brother and my sister. But, of course, in the real world, per se, that is not the case. That is not how this world works. And you can actually be taken advantage of a lot of times with that. How can one learn to set boundaries in a manner that kind of respects them and also not feel guilty? For me personally, I felt guilty. It took me about, oh my goodness, I want to say 10 years for me to realize how to set boundaries and not feel guilty about it. So how does one set boundaries and move forward with their life and be okay with that?
All right. Now, when you're in school, at least for counseling, one of the main things that they talk about is setting boundaries between you and your patients. And same thing with life coaching, setting boundaries. That's a major thing, and that's one of the things that a lot of people are having trouble doing. Mm-hmm. Now, there are a number of ways to do that. Everyone is different. Everybody has different personalities, and that can be an issue because someone who's timid or shy might not necessarily feel comfortable doing it, and someone else who's more outgoing, more outspoken can be able to do it. May be able to do it. Now, it all really depends on the person, but there are different ways to do that in order to be able to set up the boundaries. Now, like I said, there are so many different ways. I'm just going to come up with some of the most popular ones that I've addressed when I talk to people who have the same issue. Now, setting boundaries can be a little tricky because, first of all, you have to learn your limits. You have to learn some of the how far you're willing to go before you say that's enough. Okay. So a lot of people have a little issue there. So first, it has to be an inner thing. You have to sit there and say, okay, I know or the type of person I am. I know how sometimes if I let this much go, this is how much people just take from me. So they take advantage of the situation. So you need to, try to set your limit by yourself, knowing, okay, this is how far I'm willing to go. It's like negotiating, and buying a car. You know how much,
Thank you.
You know how much you can take, and you know how much you can spend. You don't want to spend over this amount, even if you try to negotiate it down. But if they want to go further up, you know how far you're going to say, okay, you know what, I'm not buying this car. Okay, so same thing will go. So if you know that and there are some weak spots or some weak area where you feel like, okay, people will take a minute, you want to set your limit. Say, okay, this is how far I'm going. And after that, that's enough. So you have to try to find yourself to have that conversation to first do that. Now the second thing is tune into your own feelings, because know how you would feel if this goes a little further. Okay, how you want to handle the situation, because sometimes it gets a little tough when people set aside how they feel about things, and then later on that's when it catches with them, and they just have to deal with it all alone.
Right.
Which is not really a bad thing, but when you never set the boundary, it's bound to repeat again and again. So you want to make sure that you tune into your own feelings and know that this is how I feel about this. Because, for example, if I know I have an anger issue, and I know certain games that I play with people can turn into anger, I either choose not to play that game, or I play once it gets to a certain point. I say, you know what, I'm done for the day.
Okay.
That way, it keeps it from getting too far so you don't have to deal with the anger, and now it's going to be exposed to everybody and probably hurt someone or yourself. So you want to try to get that. And the next part I want to point out that can be a little tough for a lot of people is be direct. Be direct. Don't beat around the bushes, because it gets tough the longer you wait, and the more you sugarcoat it, it gets tougher. Be direct. This is what I'm willing to accept. That one I'm not willing to accept. Are you okay with that? If not, we can't get into this. So now, for someone who is leaving who's living a religion setting, or a setting where there were basically all that, all like the whole thing was part of that religion, it gets a little tough to be direct. But it's easier that, how they say rip the Band-Aid. You have to sit them down and let them know this is my decision,
right,
and I'm going with it. Now, it might take some time to build up to it, but until you do that, it's going to be tough to move forward.
Okay.
Because you're never going to be at peace with your own decision. You see, it's like if you need to pass on a message, and the message keeps getting caught in the mix, it's not coming across, it's not going to help you. You're still going to feel like, okay, I have to keep telling, but then if you're not being direct about it, it's just gonna linger until things get worse.
Right.
So you want to make sure you be direct. Give yourself permission to really try to move forward, because if that's not the case, it's gonna be tough to move forward, because it's one of those things that's gonna stay with you until you actually speak it out loud, type of thing.
So Peterson, tell us, why would somebody need counseling? I know in the organization itself, therapy and counseling is looked down upon. It is looked as to, you can get this from Watchtower organization. You get everything from the Watchtower organization. Mental health issues, or what have you. And for me personally, I really didn't realize how everything was affecting me until after I left. And I actually did seek a therapist. I did seek someone to help me in my mind. But for me at least, the first time I went, I was scared. I thought they were the devil. I thought, I didn't need it. And then as I really did bounce this off with someone, it really did help. So why would someone need a life coach, or why would someone need a therapist to help them get over the spiritual abuse or get out of the organization?
Well, the thing is, a lot of people, we need some type of help throughout life. There's a lot of people don't necessarily have to be going through that in order to need someone to somewhat support or motivate, help them with, help their emotional motivations, So it's a little different if someone, being part of an organization, you are somewhat part of your full identity is somewhat erased or put behind. So now, in order for you to move out of that situation, you sort of need to reclaim that confidence, that motivation again.
Let me ask you a question. How has someone's personal identity been put to the side or left behind? How does that happen? Can you explain that a little bit more?
Well, because in everything, you are somewhat compromising part of who you are in everything you choose or agree to do. Because in life, once you're born, you were born with a set of rules that sort of restrict any outside influences, right?
Okay.
So now, because of that, you are not necessarily able to experience everything that would fully develop your personal identity. Because experience is what really helps that to develop. So once you are somewhat secluded in one thing, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Some people are okay with it, and others just are not.
Right.
It's just a matter of if it's something that you choose not to do, you have to then figure out who you really are. And sometimes it's not that easy to just do it by yourself because you need an outside perspective in order to guide you through some of the stuff that you have not experienced or some of the stuff that you're not seeing in yourself. Because we can be very close-minded when it comes to us because we're so protective of who we are. But the thing is, once we allow someone else in, they're able to give us some motivation, some emotional support. They offer some emotional support that kind of creates the confidence that you need in order to leave that comfort zone.
Okay.
And which is not necessarily that comfortable because obviously you're not happy in it, but it is somewhat of a comfort zone because it's what you know.
True.
So
a comfort zone doesn't mean that you have to be comfortable in it. It means that you're just what you know. You don't have to be happy in it sometimes.
Now, being comfortable doesn't necessarily mean happy. You're comfortable there because knowledge is basically, it gives you the confidence to navigate around it.
Okay.
So you're able to do it as much as you like. It's like someone who's in a job that they hate. They're very good at it. They're doing all that money, but they're not happy with it. They still want to step outside of that zone in order to really find something that really makes them happy and being good at it. You see what I mean? So in order for that transition to happen, and which is why the life coaching is very important, because in the life coaching, they focus on the aim and the motivation to help you to step away from the ledge and show you that there's more than just the ledge on the side of you. That way, you don't feel like you're falling head first, but you may be falling, but you can land on your feet because there are a lot more things out there that can be experienced and live a purposeful life. So life coaching definitely brings the part that helps you to step away from your comfort area, something that you feel like you know way too well to leave, but yet you're not very happy with the results or what's happening in it all around you. So for that reason, life coaching will bring you some peace of mind that there's more. Okay? It helps open the mind and helps you answer a lot of the questions that you have regarding how to move forward.
Okay. So what about someone who, for me, when I left the organization, I dealt a lot with how I felt like I didn't deserve anything that was good. We're taught in the organization for sure that, once you leave the organization, Jehovah's love is no longer upon you per se, or God's love is no longer with you. So all these bad things are going to happen, and all these bad things are going to come upon you, and you're going to look different. You're going to look horrible. You're going to be unblessed or whatever the heck. And how do you approach to change your mindset, or how do you set goals to change your mindset to know that you deserve the best? Just because you're not in the organization doesn't mean that God doesn't love you. It doesn't mean that you're a horrible person. How do you change your mindset with that?
Well, how to change it is a tricky thing because, as I've mentioned, everyone is different. But
True.
The main thing is being in the organization. They make you feel like being part of this organization is what your life was made for, and this is what you're supposed to do. Anything outside of that, you are banned for life, or you don't deserve anything else or any blessings that should come on you. So with that, basically, it's a spiritual guilt trip that is created and surrounding you. So whenever you feel like, okay, you know what, I want to do this, but because you've left everything else behind, you feel like, okay, maybe I don't deserve this. It's something that has to be recreated and refocused on in order to help you focus on moving forward as opposed to what happened back there.
Okay.
You see what I mean? So now I know a few people who have left their religion and their comfort area, and they feel like, okay, you know what, I don't even deserve to go back there because of my disgrace. But in reality, what they fail to, well, what a lot of people fail to teach their congregation is that regardless where you are, God is still going to be with you. I mean, if you choose to stay with them, yes, okay. If not, I'm sure there are a lot of other things, ways you can reach out to God and He'll come out and help you. People feel like, okay, yes, that was the only way to reach God. When in reality, is that really the case? So the point is to really allow the person to leave out that guilt trip, because guilt trip is one of the biggest weapon that the church has used against their congregation. Parents have used it against their children. Friends have used it against their other friends. It's just a way of keeping them in check. So the second choose to step away from that, even if they're not there with them, they want their voice to be ringing in their ears, letting them know that, yeah, if you step away from it, nothing else will become of your life. How
does religion use guilt trip to keep you in? How does religion use guilt? When
they make you feel that outside of this building right here, nothing else matters. Everyone else and everybody else who is not in our group is the devil, if you will.
Okay.
And if you simply communicate or even accept someone else's lifestyle, whether or not you agree with it, even if you choose not to judge them, they make you feel like you are part of it, and therefore you are not deserving of any blessings. That is a guilt trip that has gone from generation. It's like your mother tell you, well, come on, if you leave my house, then what am I going to do? Fine, I took care of you all your life, but you can't go ahead and leave me. But at some point, they knew it was going to happen.
Right.
You know? But it's one thing that they just won't let go.
Okay.
But some parents want their kids to move forward. Some just want them to stay there. At the end of the day, same thing for religion. Once they get you in, they don't want you leaving.
True.
So if you do try to leave, some of the ways that they project the message. Now, it's not to say the message is wrong. It's just the way they project it to you makes you feel like, okay, yeah, I'm doomed for life. It makes you feel like, okay, I don't deserve any blessings or anything good that may become in my life.
So what things could one be saying to themselves if the message is doing that to them, if the message is transferring in their body and their mind as a guilt? What would one be saying to themselves, like you just said, like, I don't deserve this, or what else would one be saying to themselves?
Oh, well, yeah, first, they don't deserve this, they're doomed for life. That's why a lot of people, they're worthless. That's why a lot of people tend to try to commit suicide, because at the end of the day, they feel like there's no point of them being around anymore if they only bring shame to their family, shame to themselves, and shame to among the congregation that made them feel so at home. They feel like, okay, you know what? I don't think I can take it. Maybe I'm not meant for this. Maybe I'm not meant for anything. For that reason, and just leave this earth. So a lot of people can't guide themselves that way. I have so many different patients who have become my patients because of who have tried to commit suicide, and and the thing is, it's not because they feel like, okay, nothing else matters anymore. Well, at least not all of them. But if they just feel like they have nothing else to offer to this world, because the only thing that they were connected to, the only thing that make them feel like they've strayed away from it, or they're not happy in it. So because of that, there's no point of being around.
Would you say if someone's unhappy in a particular, I don't say organization, but in a particular setting, even a life setting or in a life choice, they should stay in it, or do you think they should move forward or grow forward? And how would one take those steps?
I wouldn't advise anybody to stay anywhere that they're unhappy, regardless what the situation is. Now, first you have to try to figure out what exactly is making you unhappy about it. Explore. That's the main thing. Explore, why are you unhappy? What exactly about this setting that is making you unhappy? Is it something you can change? Is it something you can, is there something you can maneuver in order to make it more pleasant? If that's not the case, then you explore what else can make you happy. Figure out what else is out there that could actually make you happy, whether you're still in the setting or move away from that setting. Mm-hmm. Because if you're in a situation, you're in a position where something is really making you unhappy, you are no good or useful to anyone. It's just, or at least not to yourself. Because you could be helping everybody else, but if you're really that unhappy, at the end of the day, it will hurt you physically and mentally. So you want to try to explore, figure out what it is that makes you unhappy. Figure out there are several steps that you would need in order to, before you actually step away from it. But you don't want to blindly walk away just because somebody said it's unhappy, or you just feel like you're unhappy. Figure out why you want to leave, and it's making the next step. If you feel like you don't know where you need to go, but you just know you're not unhappy there, figure out what else to do in order to step away from it. Not necessarily knowing where you're going, but away from this. You just have to try to plan it out before you make any move. That's just a smart thing to do. So you don't have to know exactly where you're going in order to leave another organization or something like that, correct? No, it's good to know, but you don't have to. Okay. Because sometimes it's like someone going to college. Not everybody know what they're going to study, but they know, some of them feel like, okay, you know what, I want to go to college. I know there's something there that I need. I'm just not sure what it is yet. I can't figure. So they would go and, what's the term they use? They're registered as undeclared? Undeclared students. Okay. And then while they're taking the major courses, so in this case, you go around and check out the different things that are out there. Try to experience a little bit of everything, being on the safe side, just so that you can see what else fits you better other than just being in the position that you're in. Because once you step out there, you will have some more clarity as to what else exists. Because the thing is, being in one position, your view is very limited. You can't see it. So when you step out, not necessarily leave everything behind yet, but you step out just to see what's going on, it helps you a lot better to see what else you can associate yourself with, or deal with, and then see which one fits you better. It's like going to a shoe store. You're not sure which shoe you're getting unless you already have an idea. Some do, some don't. But you need a new pair of shoes. While you're looking around, you see, okay, this one might fit me. You ask for your size. If the size comes, it doesn't look the way I wanted it, so I'm going to go ahead and step away from it. Okay. Now, I know I give a lot of examples and analogies, but I do too. I like the examples and analogies. It brings it home. I like that. It's fun. Okay, so it's just to get you to see what else can you focus on other than that one thing that you grew up in, that you were never able to experience other things. So it gives you that option to see, okay, there are more than the one thing out there. Let me see what else I can do in order to, make myself a little happier because I've tried this and this looks like it fits my personality, my feelings of the way I am better. So I want to just move forward with that.
Got it. How would you, speaking on this, because as they explore and they might want to leave and they leave, how do you suggest one process the issue of shunning and disfellowshipping once their whole family, everyone they used to know their whole life, they're all their friends and everything, and now turn their back on them and no longer talking to them? How does one heal and process the shunning that happens when they leave an organization like Jehovah's Witnesses?
All right. Well, that one is a little tough to understand. Well, not to understand, to accept as an individual who's being shunned. But the idea is, if you the main thing is you just have to focus on a new beginning, because when I said earlier, you have to think of the process of what you need to do in order before you explore. When you have decided, once you decided, knowing the history and the things that are going to happen to you, you also have to figure out a way to accept that. Because if you can't change how they feel about you leaving, you have to figure out a way on how to accept how they feel about you leaving. Because at some point, there's nothing you can do about it. You can try to restore your relationship after you've accepted the situation. Okay, you leave, you find a comfort area. This is where not only you comfortable, but you're happy with it, but you can then try to reach out to at least the people who mean the most to you. Because regardless how your family feel about you, they disown you or anything like that, if you do reach out, try to connect, they'll give you at least a little bit of recognition.
Depends on the person. My parents right now, I have no recognition with my family at all. So, yeah, it depends on the family, though.
Well, then okay. So because it can be different from different family, we can leave that out, because that could be a process, a step to take towards after you a complete healing.
True.
But the thing is, you have to first then accept the consequences of what you do once you leave. Because knowing what's going to happen, knowing what has happened to people in the past, and knowing what's going to happen to you and the type of people you were dealing with, you have to be ready to accept that. Now, it's not to say that's going to be easy, but that's one thing that you can process and try to figure out, okay, how I'm going to deal with this. What am I going to do starting a whole new life?
Does accepting it means that it's okay, or you forgive? Or does accepting mean that it's not okay? What's the difference in accepting?
Well, accepting that, okay. Basically saying, okay, I know that I'm going to do this, and this is the consequence. I'm okay with it.
Okay.
It's not to say you're not going to cry every night for a while.
Okay.
Okay. It's more of mentally you are prepared for the punishment.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, growing up, if I know my father said not to do something and I choose to do it anyway, before I even do it, I know, okay, I got to prepare myself mentally. If I'm going to get a whooping, I'm going to have to accept it. I'm not going to fight it, because I know I deliberately disobeyed what he said not to do in the first place. It's just, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I feel like this is better for me as an individual. I'm leaving this group, and for that reason, I know they're gonna look at me differently. You have to be ready to accept that. Like I said, it have to happen overnight, and then you might need some help with that, but that's the goal.
Got it. And the healing process might take a while, might not take a while.
It might take a while, yes. And the healing process will happen. It's just a matter of, the person. Some people process things slower, some people process things faster. And the thing is, the more the more you prepare yourself for it, the easier it is. Well, the faster the healing will happen. Okay, so. So because you know what's going to happen, you've already mentally prepared yourself. It might, the healing process might go by a little faster, because you already know some steps you've already skipped.
Okay.
Instead of walking away and then you surprised with that, and that causes a lot more damage. So,
what processes would you take before leaving in order to dampen, I guess, the process?
Well, most of it is as far as process to take to leave.
Yes.
Most of it is a mental part. I mean, it's not just taking your stuff and walk away. It's more like it's sort of connected to what I said earlier, as far as accepting the situation, talking to some people, trying to figure out, okay, what is my place in here? Why am I so unhappy? So you sort of try to give yourself some of the, point out some of the main reasons why you are not happy here and why you have to do this, and be sure and convince yourself the reason that I have to leave, and then prepare yourself to actually take the consequences once you leave.
Okay.
So,
well, Peterson, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. How can people get in contact with you? And for those who don't know, or this is his introduction and video with Exodus Group, but he is one of the guys that's going to be on staff for the Exodus Group. So if you need any help, you can contact him directly, and he will be able to help you, guide you through your shunning process. We've already talked about what's going, how to deal with Exodus Group for those of us who are getting shunned or newly out of Jehovah's Witnesses. He's not a Jehovah's Witness, but he does fully understand what's going on in the process that the Watchtower organization does inflict on those who are now changing their beliefs. So how do we get in contact with you, and tell us a little bit more about yourself and your business?
Well, my practice has a Facebook page and a Twitter. It's at OSS Consult. That's my Facebook and my Instagram page.
Got it.
I
Okay.
do post things that can be very inspiring and helpful. I do write some articles. I also post on my LinkedIn page. It's Dr. Peterson Alcide. And if you go on there, there are a lot of things that can be very helpful. And if you do want to contact me, send me a message. And I don't want to put my phone number on there.
No, you don't have to. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're in contact with Angela, you can definitely.
Or your email address. Can we do your email address instead?
Yes, my email address is petersalci@yahoo.com.
Awesome.
So it's my first name, part of my last name at yahoo.com. petersalci@yahoo.com. So you can definitely reach out and let me know. A lot of people have contacted me because I've either done seminars, different locations, and they were attending. A lot of them sometime are out of town. But whenever I speak in Atlanta, I do post it on my page. So check me out and let me know. And I have some of the I do videos sometimes about inspiring topics that people suggest. They need a little more time. The videos are not very long, but they can be very helpful. So if you have a topic that you feel like you would hear a little more about, I can try to do a short video about it, or we can chat. So don't hesitate to reach out, and then we'll definitely talk on how to get things going with you.
Awesome. Peterson, thank you for joining us today. You guys make sure you share this information if you know anyone who needs it. We're going to have him back on again to have more questions, to answer more questions. And if you want him to answer your questions, you can get in contact with him, or you can put it down in the comments in this section, in this channel. Again, I'm Angela Emery. Thank you for joining the Exodus Group. You are stronger than you think. I will talk to you soon. Bye.